The good life, full of fun.
Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Another big exciting day in my kitchen. Where are we going? I'm thinking downtown Rome. Why Rome? Because when I was in Rome in my 20s, which was, well, we won't calculate that number, but it was a while ago. I was in downtown Rome. I was in one of those side streets, and I remember the waiter brought us a dessert menu, and they had this molten chocolate mini cake. And I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I never had it before, and I'll tell you, it's one of those desserts, one of those dishes that once you have it, I mean, you're hooked for life. It's delicious with its depth of chocolate. I'm going to show you a couple of tips on how to get going on that and how to turn it up. So what do you say we get going? A lot of ingredients, don't be intimidated. This thing goes pretty quickly. Starting with our center stage, the big kahuna, the main event. All right, I'll stop. It is. You know what? I'm a little giddy today because we're playing Frank Sinatra Pandora today, right in the background. Sometimes you guys complain the music's a little loud, so I softened it, but it gets me going a little. You gotta love Frank. We're gonna start with 6 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate. So you got a high cocoa content, but there's some sugar in there, so it's not gonna be too deep. Now we wanna kick up the chocolate a little bit, and we're going to cut it in a little different way. So I've got 1 ounce of cocoa, so just pure cocoa, okay? Now, to deepen the flavor of the chocolate, it's going to go just a little bit better. We've got a 1 ounce shot of espresso. Oh, and you know, with the 1 ounce of espresso, you literally will not taste the coffee, but coffee enhances, it deepens the flavor of the chocolate. We've got a 1/4 cup in a tablespoon of flour. Now in this case we want to use a pastry flour or a cake flour, which is very fine, which means it's gonna absorb and marry with our ingredients, and the protein content is really low. I've got here a 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons of butter. Okay, now if you have salted butter, don't add salt. If you don't have salted butter or no salt, you're gonna add a little pinch of salt, and that salt, remember, salt enhances the flavors. It doesn't add a flavor, it always enhances the flavor, okay? I've got 4 whole eggs. Try to get free-range organic eggs if you can. They're always a better flavor, better taste. Now what we're gonna do here is we're gonna use 2 whole eggs and 2 egg yolks. I've got a fat 1/3 of sugar, white sugar, and I've got, I know, it's unbelievable already, right? I mean, are you on the edge of your seat? And I've got a fat 1/3 of brown sugar. So what you'll find is that brown sugar will give you, again, that depth, that richness that you can't capture with the white sugar. Gonna be great, okay? We've got a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, and nutmeg. I got a breath of nutmeg, maybe an 1/8 teaspoon. I always get a whole nutmeg and give it a little grind. Now what we wanna do is inside of this thing, we wanna create some goodness. Now we've got that molten chocolate, which is great, but what I'm gonna do, you don't have to do this if you don't wanna, but I'm gonna take 4 raspberries, okay, beautifully picked with a nice big hole here, and I'm gonna grab a fat tablespoon of mascarpone cheese. I'm gonna put it in a Ziploc bag, let it get to room temp, and I'm gonna cut that tip, and you already know where I'm going with it. Now when we plate this thing, I want some whipped cream. I mean, it's the only way to go. So I've got 1 cup of chilled cream, heavy cream, whipping cream, okay? I've got a fat tablespoon of mascarpone cheese. I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. Oh gosh, that is fantastic. And I got a 1.5 tablespoons of powdered sugar. Last but not least is olive oil. Now olive oil does not go in this recipe. You like that transition? It's tough to plug olive oil when it doesn't go directly in the recipe. But I'm telling you, if it did, you'd want to use Vito and Joe's extra virgin Italian olive oil. So I have a farm in Italy. We co-op with a group of farms to bring you the best olive oil on the planet. It's grassy, it's earthy, it's peppery. It's all Italian olives. They're pressed within a day of picking, and it's absolutely delicious. Certainly I call it a trip to Italy right in the bottle. I named it after my 2 boys, Vito and Joey. Now I know you're thinking, hey, how do I get a bottle of that? You know, we sell them in a large and a small. You go right to our website, Cooking Italian with Joe, and when you get right on there, it'll ask you, hey, do you want to buy a bottle of olive oil? Of course you want to buy a bottle of olive oil. We drop ship it right to your house. You go on there, you click it, you buy it, Within a matter of days, you'll have it right at your doorstep. All right, so let's get cooking. I've got 4 ramekins. I'm gonna prep them with butter and a little bit of flour, so I'll show you how to do that as well. I've got a double boiler going in back here with a clear glass, some water. We're gonna heat that up to melt the chocolate and the butter, and I've got the oven at 425 degrees. I want that puppy hot because I want to cook the outside of that cake, but I want the inside warm and molten. To get started, I want to prep the ramekins. Simply take your butter and give it a little rub inside the ramekin. Ramekins are butter. Now I'm just going to take some of that flour, right? Because I had 1/4 of a cup plus a little bit more. I'm going to take like a heaping teaspoon, okay, and I'm going to pop it right in, and then just give it a shake. And you want to make sure you get those sides. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take it and dump it in the other one. And what I do is I just cup the two and I just give it a tap. See, look how perfect that is, right? And now I got the flour in this one, do the same thing here. I can't express how important it is to prep these because the inside of that cake is molting, the outside is going to be rigid. So you want to make sure you have as little possibility of that sticking to the inside of the ramekin. That's really important. Now my double boiler is warm. I'm going to pop my chocolate in. So my 6 ounces is semi-sweet, my 1 ounce of cocoa, my 1/2 cup of butter, and then one of my little tricks is coffee, espresso, 1 ounce. Now while that's melting for a couple of minutes, I'm gonna meet you right over at my mixer. Now we wanna cream our egg yolks and our sugar, and that's gonna give you some body, it's gonna add some air, and it's gonna create that custard feel to our molten chocolate, okay? So I'm gonna add my egg yolks and my eggs. I'm gonna add my sugar, white sugar, brown sugar, my vanilla. Oh, good. Tastes delicious now. And that little secret ingredient, right? My nutmeg. And now I'm gonna pull this guy up and I'm gonna get it going low just to incorporate a little bit and move some of that moisture around, and then we'll crank it. Now while I'm creaming the eggs, I've got my chocolate, which is almost perfect. Chocolate is done. Oh, look at that. Is that just gorgeous? All right, so we're gonna bring this right over to our mixer. I've got a pad down there, a towel, because the bottom of that bowl is gonna be hot and it's got condensation on it. And you see how creamy the eggs are? See, they're white and pale almost, that just a tinge. And now we're gonna add our hot chocolate. And we wanna add this slow for 2 reasons. One, we don't wanna cook the egg, so we wanna temper it. We wanna add just a little bit at a time. And secondly, if I add it too fast, I'm gonna lose the lift. I'm gonna lose all that air I incorporated. So I just wanna do a little bit, just a little drizzle, a little bit more. Sides are scraped. I'm gonna give it one more little mix. Now I'm finishing the batter. The last thing we want to add is our flour. I didn't want to add the flour in the mixer because I don't want to build up any type of glue. That's going to create too much body to it. So I'm going to take my flour with a sifter and a whisk. And just really slow. I don't want to lose the air, and I'm just going to stir it as I slowly get it in there. Flour's all incorporated. It's perfect. And I want to let it set now. I want the flour to hydrate. I want it to mix, marry. I want the moisture to get within the flour. And there's 2 specific tips, if you will, I want to share with you to really make this come out perfect. First, I want the inside to stay soft or molten, almost liquid. And one of the ways we need to do that, we got to get the oven hot. Second thing is we want to cool the batter down. So I'm going to put it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes before you want to bake it. It's going to cool the batter. So with the batter cool, the outside of the ramekin is going to get nice and hot, and the inside's going to take a little bit longer to heat up. That way it ensures it stays liquid. Number 2, to make this come out just killer, is if you subscribe to our channel. There's a red button right down here in the corner. If you click that and you subscribe, what it does is it makes you part of our channel. So anytime we do a trip, a new recipe, any travel tips, any of my travels over to Italy, to my villa, you're always going to get a notification in your inbox, let you know what's going on. And I'll tell you, it really means a lot to me when you subscribe and I say, hey, it makes you part of the family. You know what I'm saying? Now I like to add a little hidden treat inside there. You can put a block of cheese. You can do all kinds of little things inside this molten cake. I took some mascarpone cheese, about 1.5 tablespoons. Okay, I sweeten it with a little sugar, just a little bit. I put it in a Ziploc, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the tip off, just a bit of that tip. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stuff the raspberry full of cheese. Now, if you measured correctly, you should have at least a teaspoon left. Oh, just to have a little bit of taste. Hey, somebody's got to take care of the cook, you know what I'm saying? Now we're going to put the raspberry with the mascarpone, sweet mascarpone, inside each of the ramekins. So set it right inside the center. Perfect. I've got a spoon that I'm going to help assist put them in there. You guys have gone online, Cooking in Town with Joe. You've gotten yourself a bottle of olive oil, and you've clicked here to subscribe. We're almost perfect, I'm telling you. All right, so now I'm going to take the batter, and we're going to fill up our goodness. Just make sure you don't move your goodness of raspberry. So you're going to go about 2/3 of the way. All right, we're finito. Now we're going to put them in the oven. Just a quick tip. Don't put them in there till you're ready to eat dessert, because you want that inside molting. You want it hot, okay? So they're going to go in there about 15 minutes or so, so just be about ready. Worst case, if they come out early, you got to eat them before dinner's over with. I'm not thinking that's a horrible thing. Believe me, they're going to be good. 15 minutes. We got to make our whipped cream. I thought we do old school on this. You can use your mixer if you want, but I got 15 minutes. So I'm going to take my cup of cream and I'm going to go ahead and put my sugar in there. And then with my whisk, I'm going to get this thing going right now. Now it's been about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. Now I want to put my mascarpone cheese in there. And as soon as it starts getting just on the stiff side, I'm going to put my vanilla in there. That mascarpone cheese just makes it perfect. I'm just tasting the whipped cream. You know, guys, as a cook, you gotta make sure this stuff's perfect. That's all I'm doing. Bell just went off. Oh, it smells good in here. What you want, just to show you real quick, I just pulled these out. See how there's some body there? In other words, if I push, you see how there's rigidity to it? And they're still cooking, so don't think that they're not still cooking. So I'm gonna let them set. Now we gotta flip these guys and let them cool. So I'm gonna take the lava cake, right, my mini cake. I'm just gonna take a plate. I'm gonna flip it like I did the others here, and I'm just gonna let them cool. Now what's gonna happen is the cake starts to cool, it's going to contract and pull away from the sides a little bit, and then within about 4 to 5 minutes everything's going to drop right on the plate. All right guys, I'm hitting the whipped cream at favorite time. We're going to go taste and just go gentle. Oh, she's going to bust out. So I want to do that perfect bite, and I want to get that lava. Look at that. Look at that right there. You guys ready? Here it comes. The intensity of that chocolate, it's perfect sweet, perfect chocolate, perfect cream, almost like a custard. It's got just the body of the cake on the outside, so you've got a little texture crunch. The mascarpone whipped cream is perfect. The vanilla, the sugar, the chocolate. You can't taste the coffee. There's like just a really slight backdrop of the nutmeg and the coffee. It comes at you right in the end. I'm in Rome right now. Yeah, I cut away on that. I didn't want you to see me in total gluttony. I'm sure my mouth is covered with chocolate. Woo, that is good. Guys, I'll tell you, great recipe. It's got just a little bit of magical cheese and raspberry. Make sure you guys take time to subscribe to our channel. Love to have you part of the family. Certainly go online, Cooking Italian with Joe, right to my website. Grab yourself a bottle of olive oil. It truly is a trip to Italy right in a bottle. And remember, shut off those electronics and shut off your cell phone and crank some Frank Sinatra in the kitchen, spend some time with your kids, make a mess, have some fun, create some memories to last a lifetime by celebrating your heritage and setting some new traditions with your children. Guys, until next week, bon appetito.
Good life, full of fun, seems to be